Welcome to Well Rounded. I'm your host, Tiffany Parker. Hello everybody, and I would say happy Wednesday, but I'm actually very behind, and so this is coming out on a Thursday. But I hope we're all doing okay. I'm experimenting with some video stuff and recording video while doing audio, so we'll see how this video turns out. But I wanted to take a minute to talk about something I'm very passionate about. Cybertrucks. Can we just talk about for a second how they are easily the most hideous things I think I've ever seen. Ever. Like the hideous vehicle on the planet. A fun thing about living in Utah is that there are quite a few rich people here, and I'm not mad about that. I would also like to be part of the rich person club. But a lot of rich people, and they hop on car trends very, very quickly. So within about like a week of me seeing the Cybertruck on Instagram, I kid you not, like 4 Cybertrucks in that same week. You know, so I saw the post on Instagram and then saw about 4 different Cybertrucks. Well, they might have been the same Cybertruck, hard to say. But I saw a Cybertruck 4 separate times whilst driving around. And there's like that psychology study thing where it's like if you're thinking about a red car, you're going to notice all the red cars or whatever. This was not the case. I did not give a rat's rear end about the Cybertruck. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to look at it. I saw the post talking about it, and I thought it looked so stupid and so clunky. And I just saw it because it's impossible to miss it. It's impossible not to see. So anyways, I've seen quite a few Cybertrucks, and they're horrific. They're hideous. They're so ugly. I'm sure they're really nice on the inside. You know, they kind of look like a Batmobile, but like a Batmobile's ugly, like, older brother or something. You know what I mean? Like it's trying to be the Batmobile and it's not quite getting there. So, anyways. They look like they have the worst turning radius on the planet. Like how tightly they can make a turn looks like it would be absolute trash, absolute garbage. So I don't know what the appeal is of the Cybertruck. I don't know who was in charge of that decision-making paradigm, but not a fan. Okay, anyways, another thing that I noticed today is that do people not know that you're supposed to pull over for a fire truck? So I was driving to Draper, so I live in Orem. I was driving to Draper, which is about 20-30 minutes from my apartment, and to my chiropractor appointment, and there, you know, were a couple fire trucks with their sirens on, like speeding down on the opposite side of the road. Now, to be fair, this was going the opposite direction that I was going, and there's like one of those little like median things in the middle that like prevents you from flipping a U or like turning around or anything like that. And so, to be fair, like I guess you don't technically have to pull off to the side, but like a couple of I pulled off to the side, and then the semi in front of me and a couple other cars did. But then like this other truck just like zooms past me, and I'm like, dude, like you're supposed to stop and pull over. And that's happened a lot of times where I've had where I've seen a fire truck behind me, and so I've pulled off and I could see them before I could hear them. And I pulled off to the side, and then like a bunch of aggressive drivers like swerving around me, and I could see them like glancing at me as they, you know, kind of doing that thing, you know, with like the Luigi meme. where he's like, and I'm like, dude, you're supposed to stop. Like, you're supposed to pull off to the side and get out of the way so that the firemen can, I don't know, save a life. I don't know, stop something from burning down, whatever else they need to do. You know what I mean? And so if that was not known, that is known. Because when I was growing up in Arizona, that was a thing. Like, every car would stop and pull over, like, just kind of off to the side. You don't have to, like, pull over and park or anything crazy. Just get out of the way, you know? That would happen all the time. My parents would do that when they drive. Like, every car on either side of the road would do that. They would just pull off, pull over, and just stop for a second. And then as soon as the truck is gone, you speed up. It stops you like maybe 3-4 seconds at the most. You know what I mean? Because when they're, you know, going to do their job, they're speeding, you know, they're going. And so, but in Utah, people don't do that. And I don't know, like, is that not taught somewhere? Do people just not know? Are people moving from other states to Utah and not knowing that? I don't know, but I just thought that was interesting and weird, and I don't know how people don't know that. So anyways, if you see a fire truck, you're supposed to pull over and kind of get out of the way, okay? Because people could be dying, okay? Last thought I'm going to share before we get to the main event. I saw a video on the Instagram, and it was this cute mom. It's this dress company called Ivy City Company. It's like Utah dress company, and they're like all size inclusive and blah, blah, blah. They just have like some cute stuff sometimes. And I saw this video that this mom posted, and she was like, get ready with me while I get my 5 kids ready. I was like, holy crap, first of all, 5 kids. Second of all, it brought up a new fear that I wasn't aware that I had about being a mother or potential motherhood. And that is doing my kids' hair, specifically doing my daughter's hair. And I didn't realize that that was something so stressful to me until I watched this video. You know, there are a lot of things that I'm kind of stressed about with motherhood and, you know, potentially being a mother. I'm very, very far from that. But, like, you know, I think women in general that want to be moms and stuff, like, I think we're all kind of stressed about a lot of things with regards to motherhood and don't really know what we're doing and things like that. But one I was not expecting was, like, the fear of having to do my kids' hair and doing it well. And because, like, my hair, I'm okay at hair. I'm better at doing my own hair than I am doing other people's hair, though. And I'm also very simplistic with my hair. Like, it's either down or it's up in some variation. You know what I mean? And like, and stuff like that. And so this mom just killing it. She's like, you know, sectioning off her daughter's hair. She's doing this cute, like, rubber band thing. All this stuff, like, stuff I can't even do on myself. I was like, crap. I'm not going to be able to do my kids' hair. Their hair is going to look terrible. I remember when my mom would do my hair. Anyways, I wasn't expecting that to actually, I wasn't expecting to have such a visceral reaction to that, because I actually, like, felt little butterflies in my stomach of, like, nervousness. Not like butterflies, like crush butterflies, but like, oh crap, like, I'm gonna have to do that. Anyways, I was not expecting to have new fears about motherhood brought to my attention when I'm not even close to motherhood at all. Anyways, just some thoughts, observations for today. But as some of you know, if you listened to last week's episode or the week before that, I was at the beach. I just got back from the beach last week, and mentally I'm still there, which is why I'm recording this on a Wednesday afternoon and releasing it on a Thursday, because I am not back in the state of Utah, according to my noggin. So, but I was at the beach. We went to a place called Carlsbad. It's really close. It's like an hour away from San Diego-ish. And then if you've ever heard of, like, Oceanside, most people have heard of Oceanside, California. It's like right next to it. It's like a 10-minute drive. And so, yeah, we stay at this resort every year. We have a timeshare there, so we go the same time every year. And so that week is like our week, you know? And so we go, we play in the beach, and Carlsbad is, it's very much like a touristy town. So it's not like the rest of California. It's not like LA. It's not like San Francisco. It's not like the other places. It's a little bit, of a kept secret kind of, and it's awesome. I love it so much. I've been going there my whole life, and it was so nice. Oh my gosh, I have not had like a true vacation day off situation like all year, and so it was so nice. The whole week we did nothing productive and it was so great. It felt so good. And it was a rare time where all of us were able to go. So all 6 of us in my family were able to go, and it was really, really nice. Cause I was able to not have to teach my students or worry my voice students or worry about having to like get subs for them or do makeup lessons. So that was a whole load off my shoulders. And then we didn't have much happening at BYU this week either. And so I didn't feel like I was putting a burden on my audio team and stuff like that. And so, it was so nice. And I wish I was still there because, oh man, I really truly didn't have to think about anything work related. And that has not happened in what feels like a long time. So anyways, it was super great, super fun. And in my family, we're all really strong swimmers because there's exactly like 1.5 things that you can do in Arizona in the summertime. And the one is swim. And then the half of the 1.5 is get some variation of shaved ice. Those are the 1.5 things you can do outside in the summertime in Arizona. And so we all grew up doing like swim team. I did synchronized swimming as well as swim team. So I'd wake up, jump in a freezing cold pool at like 6 a.m. or whatever, swim a bunch of laps for an hour, and then go to the dive tank and do synchro. One of my brothers also did diving as well. And then we've been going to the beach basically my whole life. Like I don't remember a time where we didn't have a place to go in California at the beach. And so we've been doing that my whole life. And so we've been swimming in the water and stuff like that. So we're all very confident swimmers. And the water is really nice on this particular beach. It's really clean. And the water is swimmable too. It's safe to swim in. It's, it's salt water, but it's clean though. Like one of the days it was actually like crystal clear. You could like see your shadow like in the water, like on the floor of the water. Like it was so clear. It was so clear. So that was really, really awesome. And sorry, I just got a text. And yeah, it was so nice. Sometimes when the waves are really crazy and big, sometimes it gets just like really sandy because it's, lifting up all the sand and stuff like that. But, so yeah, the last couple days it was like really sandy and I was like, oh, sand in the crevices. But it was really, really nice. And even when it's sandy, it's still it's kind of nice. And it's the Pacific Ocean, so it's a lot colder. So you don't get like a ton of jellyfish and blah, blah, blah. And things like that. So anyways, super duper nice. It was fun to be there with my whole family. And we did a lot of fun things and just chilled on the beach a lot. People are like, what do you do? And it's like, this is a vacation. So that means we're not seeing sights. We're not like going out and about. We're not like trying to do this thing or that thing or that thing. Because when you go to like cool places like Europe or whatever, like you want to go see all the stuff. You want to do the things in it. So it's like, it's a vacation, but it's not like a relaxing vacation. And so why this beach trip is so sacred and so special is because it is a relaxation specific trip. It's like, if you want to go down to the beach, you go down to the beach. If you don't want to go, it's not a big deal, blah, 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 things like that. So, and the resort is right across from the beach. So it's really convenient and things like that. So super fortunate, got to do that. And so that leads me into what I want to talk about. I was talking about this with my sister actually this last week. And I realized just from listening to people at the beach, because it was very crowded this week because it was the 4th of July week, and there were like a remarkable amount of teenagers. And like, no disrespect to teenagers, but they were everywhere, and it was like more than normal. You know what I mean? Like, again, like usually there's a lot of families coming here and things like that, but it was like just like flocks of high school teenagers that I think were just local. You know, usually it's like the teenagers are part of a family and they're doing stuff with their family because they're visiting from elsewhere. But like, these were standalone teenagers, and they were everywhere, and they were so loud, and they were so and like, they very clearly did not feel comfortable in the ocean. And so I was talking to my sister, I was like, you know what I've learned since moving to Utah is that there are people in this world who did not grow up swimming all day every day like a lot of us did. And I grew up with a pool as well, and so I would go swimming all the time, like literally every day. And so she's like, seriously? I was like, yeah, there are people who are not comfortable with swimming. They know how to swim, but like they don't feel super confident in their swimming abilities. And I was like, did you know that? I was like, did you know that there are people who are not confident swimmers and who are genuinely afraid of the ocean because they don't feel good about their swimming? She's like, what? And I was like, yeah. So anyways, no shame in that. It's just something I didn't think about until I moved elsewhere, because again, in Arizona, like everybody has a pool, everybody swims. That's like all you do in the summertime. And there are tons of public pools everywhere as well that you can go to, and things like that. Like, that's the thing to do in 115-degree weather in the summertime. So, it's like a big part of the environment in Arizona. So, like, I don't know a single friend that I grew up with who didn't feel good about their swimming. You know, not that they did like swim team or anything, but like they're like, yeah, I swim all the time. You know what I mean? Not a thing here. Not a thing. So that inspired this week's episode to share some tips and tricks and fun facts about the ocean, because it is actually, it's not like me throwing shade or trying to brag or anything. It's actually a safety hazard. Like, the ocean, you know, everyone should go to the beach and should visit the ocean and swim in an ocean. And it's like one of life's greatest things. And I think the ocean and the beach is the most beautiful piece of nature. You know, some people like mountains, some people like rivers, like all that stuff. I'm an ocean gal. I think the ocean is the most beautiful piece of nature. Obsessed with it. Obsessed. So anyways, here are some things to do, because obviously swimming in a pool, like a lot of people can get by swimming in a pool. Ocean is a little bit of a different ball game, and so you should experience that and be able to experience it stress-free. So here is your weekly dose of vitamin C. See what I did there? SEA. Okay, so my first thing is that the ocean is not to be feared, but it is to be respected. Okay? Like, I think what scares people a lot about the ocean is just the kind of the unknown and stuff. And, you know, there's the tides and there's all this stuff and things like that. And I think that just kind of scares a lot of people. Also, sometimes, you know, everyone thinks of sharks, yada, yada. Go watch Shark Week. They're not that scary. And then, you know, just a lot of other things. You know, there's just kind of weird creatures. I think ocean creatures are like the closest we have to alien life. You know, I follow all these like scuba diving accounts and like oceanography people on Instagram, and they like share videos that like some scuba diver got or whatever, and I'm like, that looks like an alien. I'm like, we should make alien movies where they look like that. Cause that's creepy. And things like that, but you're not ever gonna get that deep, most likely. And also, if you kind of know how to handle yourself and things like that, it's really not that scary, but you don't want to get arrogant. You know what I mean? You can't get arrogant, because no matter what happens, the ocean's gonna win. All right. So, first, just a few little terminology things. So an undertow, okay, is an underwater current. And this, I tried to find a good definition that could explain it better than how I could explain it. And this person did it the best, I think. I think it was a girl. She said, think of water under waves being towed back to the sea. And so what it'll feel like oftentimes is it feels like you're being pulled. Like something under the surface level is kind of like pulling you back out towards the sea. So undertow, sometimes you have really, really strong undertows, sometimes they're not, things like that. The thing that people are most scared of and are most cautioned against is a rip current. Okay. So rip currents, are powerful currents of water moving away from the shore. They can sweep even the strongest swimmer away from shore. Do not swim against it. So what it kind of looks like, and I tried to find a bunch of videos because I grew up knowing what all of these things are, but being able to explain them in a way without like a visual is hard. So the video and stuff, and I actually found a really good one. Apparently rip currents are like a huge problem in Australia, I learned, because everything in Australia just runs and is a little bit different. I don't know what they're eating or drinking in Australia, but things are just crazy over there. But basically, so you have the waves coming in and then they come back out, right? And so what happens is waves will come from the side, or not from the side, they'll, crash onto the shore, and then as the waves are being pulled back out, they'll come together sometimes, and they'll form kind of like a channel of really, really aggressive, not an undertow, but a really strong current that just like yanks you out. Like they're really, really hard to fight against. I've been in a few rip currents before, or have gotten caught in something similar like that, and they're very aggressively pulled out. And so it just kind of has to do with how the waves crash and then how they get sent back out to shore. And so sometimes what happens is the waves will crash and gravity or whatever will just pull it back out, and all the diagrams kind of had like arrows where the water's coming down and then it's kind of curving that way instead of just going, I just hit the mic, so sorry. Instead of just hitting it like going straight back out. It's not like a boom, 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 boom thing. Sometimes, it curves that way or whatever. And so you can have several different types of like rip currents going different directions and things like that. So that's the biggest thing that people are cautioned against. Apparently like 20 people in Australia die from like getting caught in a rip current a year, which like 20 is not a lot of people, but it's like kind of a lot for that circumstance to be happening, for that many people to have that happen too. So anyways, they are a little scary, but the main tip is to not swim against it. Okay, you will lose every single time, okay, because they're strong and they're powerful. And so a lot of the tips that I saw, and the one that I've been taught is you swim you swim like parallel to the shore, and until you get out of it, because usually they're not all the time, but usually they're like kind of a narrow channel is kind of how they're explained. And so you don't want to swim against it this way, because then you're actively fighting that rip current. And so you want to swim parallel to the shore, perpendicular to the rip current, if that makes any sense, until you get out of it, and then you can come back to shore. Yeah. Another tip I saw was to just kind of float and wait for a lifeguard, which doesn't feel like great advice if you're in a place where there isn't a lifeguard. So yeah, definitely do not swim against it. Swim parallel to the shore, get out of it. You'll feel it. You'll feel yourself get out of it because you won't be like being yanked out to sea. So that's the big one that people are really stressed about. So really important to know what an undertow is, and really important to know what a rip current is. Hopefully I explained that okay. But if you are going to go to the beach and my explanation was not very good, please make sure you know what that is, and you know how to identify it and how to notice it. Some things that I saw were like notice a lack of waves. Like if it looks like it's a little bit more dead, that could possibly be a riptide. You'll also see kind of like a break in the waves. because you have like the white foamy stuff on top of the waves, right? And so if you see a lack of that white foamy stuff, that could be a potential type of rip current, and things like that. Also, you can look for like the water pattern too. A rip current travels differently than like a normal wave and things like that. So those are just some tips. Do not fight against it. Don't fight the ocean if you're caught in one of those. So please, please, please be smart about it. Let's see. Nexty poo. What to do if you get stung by a jellyfish. So fun fact, I have been stung by a jellyfish 3 times. And I was stung by a jellyfish long before I was ever stung by a bee. I didn't get stung by a bee until last summer. It was my first time being ever stung by a bee, and it hurt so effing bad. My ankle throbbed like the rest of the day. Oh my gosh, it hurt so bad. But anyways, been stung by a jellyfish 3 times. Technically, I was telling my siblings about my tour in Florida and stuff and the beach there, and like how I thought I maybe got stung by a jellyfish. But one of my siblings pointed out that like it could have been like seaweed, because certain types of seaweed have like not stingers, but like, you know, you can have an allergic reaction to seaweed or something, or like whatever chemicals on it. Hard to say. I don't know. I just know something touched me, and then my foot was stinging for a while, and I was like, ow, ow, ow. And like a couple other people had that experience. It could very well not be a jellyfish, but that sounds a lot cooler to me than like, oh yeah, some rogue seaweed just, you know, stung me or whatever, you know? So we're gonna go with the jellyfish story, because that sounds a little bit cooler. Yeah. So what to do if you get stung by a jellyfish. Okay, so we're taught, I think, often to pee on it. If you like aren't near a shower, but this is what the Mayo Clinic says according to the internet. Let's see, they say diagnosing jellyfish stings generally doesn't require a visit to a healthcare provider. If you do go, your provider will likely be able to diagnose your injury by looking at it. Your healthcare provider may collect samples of the stingers to help guide treatment. Okay, treatment. Treatment for jellyfish stings includes first aid care and medical treatment. First aid care. Most jellyfish stings can be treated as follows. Carefully pluck visible tentacles with the fine tweezers. When I was stung, like the first time I got stung, like a couple of my family members got stung because it was at this beach and the water was really warm that year. Apparently they don't like cold water, and the Pacific is usually really, really cold. And so I don't remember ever having like tentacles or anything like sticking into me. I just remember like screaming and crying and being told to pee on my leg. So until we got back to a hotel, because sometimes when you're on the beach, like that beach has a shower and stuff, has like a little shower area, but not all beaches do. So they say carefully pluck visible tentacles with the fine tweezers. That's kind of a gross thing to imagine. Soak the skin in hot water. So I think that's why the pee thing is like, it's like a quick hot water compress situation that you just have accessible to you at any given point in time. They say to use water that's 110 to 113 degrees Fahrenheit. It should feel hot, not scalding. Keep the affected skin immersed or in a hot shower until the pain eases, which might be 20 to 45 minutes. Yeah, it didn't take me that long for it to feel better. Step 3, apply 0.5% to 1% hydrocortisone cream or ointment twice a day to the affected skin. Steps to avoid, and I would argue this is actually like more important than the other ones. Scraping out stingers. Don't do that. Rinsing with human urine. There it is. Listen, it felt warm, and you got to do what you got to do. Okay. So they say these actions are unhelpful or unproved. So I don't really know what peeing did to me, but I do remember like getting into a shower and like being in a hot shower for a while. So, so scraping out stingers, rinsing with human urine, rinsing with cold, fresh water, applying meat tenderizer. yeah, don't do that. Applying alcohol, ethanol, or ammonia. Yeah. Rubbing with a towel, applying pressure bandages. Yeah. So seems like the main thing to do is to not like touch it very aggressively and to just let your skin kind of help it and stuff. Now there are different types of jellyfish. I'm not really going to go into this, but like there are some jellyfish that are really, really, really dangerous. Okay. We probably will not encounter that in the shallow end of, like, if you go into the ocean as deep as you can while still touching, you probably will not encounter those kinds of jellyfish. So, you know, but I'm not a marine biologist, so do not take my word as law, okay? Let's see. They have medical treatment, emergency care. Someone having a severe reaction to a jellyfish sting may need cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR, life support, or if the sting is from a box jellyfish, anti-venom medication. Those ones are, I have heard about box jellyfish and they're intense. Oral medicine, a delayed rash or other skin reaction may be treated with oral antihistamines or corticosteroids. That took me a second. You may also be given oral pain medicine. Eye flushing. This is a little scary. A jellyfish sting on or near the eye generally requires immediate medical care to control pain and flush the eye. Yeah. So anyways, not trying to freak anyone out more, but that's what to do with the jellyfish. Pee does nothing, apparently. It's unproven. It's not that it wasn't helpful, but it's like unproven or whatever. So anyways, another tip that I would suggest if you're going to somewhere exotic, especially a place like Hawaii or something, make sure you check on a lighter note, make sure you check regulations of the area you're in. So we're all scuba certified in my family, and I love scuba diving. It's like everything I've ever wanted. As a kid, when you grow up in a pool, like grow up in a pool. I didn't grow up in a pool. I grew up on land, grew up with a pool, swam a lot. My friends and I and my siblings and I would find all these different ways to breathe underwater, just creative ways to breathe underwater without like an oxygen tank. And so I loved scuba diving for the first time. It was so much fun. That's also nothing to be scared of. We went to Hawaii as a family and, you know, saw sea turtles, like the water was super clear, really pretty, saw some eels, saw like a bunch of things, and no sharkies, unfortunately, no dolphins, which we did see dolphins on this beach trip though. They were so cute. I mean, we didn't get that close, but you see their like little fins, and then every now and then there's like a little one that's just like boop, boop, so cute. Love dolphins. Okay. But we were driving back after having done our 2 dives, and the guy driving was like, oh yeah, it's a $10,000 fine if you touch a sea turtle. And we were all just like, what? Like, maybe lead with that next time, because we saw a bunch of sea turtles, you know, we were like literally swimming with the sea turtles and none of us touched them, but like we really wanted to, you know, like they're so cool and they're just like chilling, they're just living their lives, you know, and like, dude, maybe lead with that next time because they're endangered, whatever, right? Like if, and some places are more strict than others, like you aren't supposed to touch the animals, you're not supposed to touch the coral, like these things are very, you know, temperamental or sensitive or whatever, and we want to protect our ocean and we want to protect the ocean ecosystem because it affects everything and all that stuff. And so, but it's the fact that he told us after. So anyways, make sure you check any regulations if you're going to go snorkeling or do anything like that, because no one wants to be slapped with a $10,000 fine on vacation. Also, maybe just don't touch things that aren't yours. You know what I mean? So the sea turtle's not yours, so don't touch it, okay? That's a good way to live by. So anyways, those are just little vocabulary things. We're not going to get like super deep or anything, because again, I'm not a marine biologist. I'm kind of just sharing my own personal knowledge and experiences being a beach goer of 28 years. So last but not least, I'm just going to share like my own personal tips, because we get deep in my family. We go deep into the ocean. And so the number one key that anyone will tell you is to stay calm. Yeah, a lot of a lot of where drowning happens is people panic. They panic, they get tired, and then they drown that way. So always be calm, okay? If you're jumping waves and you get caught under a wave, or a wave pulls you under, like, relax. Do not freak out, do not panic. Like, you will come to the surface, okay? And that's something that anyone will tell you. You know, they'll tell you, always stay calm. Don't fight it. Don't, like with the rip current situation, right? Don't fight the rip current. Just stay calm. Don't panic, okay? Because that's how you get tired and then you can't swim anymore. And I've also learned that, like, some people don't know how to float. I'm like, well, got plenty of material that makes me float, you know? So anyways, so please stay calm. Always stay calm in the ocean. There were a couple times, the last 2 days of our beach trip, the waves were crazy. They were so big, which in my opinion is really fun. The bigger the wave, the more fun the wave. And the current was super strong. And so, like, I was kind of getting pulled out to sea really quickly and then being pulled, like, off to the side. And so I'd look back at where my, you know, our little canopy thing was, and I was like way the heck over there, you know? And so there were a couple of waves and, like, several times where, like, I would drop to the bottom of the ocean when a wave would come, and then, like, it would still take me, and, like, I did a couple somersaults underwater and stuff like that. And I tell people that and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're okay, and blah blah blah, and they're all panicking. And it's like, that's happened to me so many times. Like, it's not even a big deal. Especially, that happens especially if you do, like, boogie boarding and stuff. If you eat it, if you catch a wave and you don't quite hold it, or it's just too big or whatever, and you, like, crash, like, you will tumble for quite a bit. You'll tumble for a couple seconds until you come back to the surface. And so the key is to always be calm. Yeah. It's not as scary. It's not crazy. Like, you just got to be calm and allow yourself to keep track of where you are. You know what I mean? And that's what anyone will tell you. Anyone will tell you to stay calm. The minute you panic is the minute dangerous things can happen, okay? So, let's see. The ocean, okay, this is something very important to me. The ocean is not the time to overcome fears of water or learn how to swim, okay? You have to do it in a pool. Please go learn. If you're not a confident swimmer, maybe don't go very deep in the water. Like, you know, be smart about it, obviously. But when I was doing my scuba certification, there was a couple of girls in the class who, like, weren't there with their significant others, because most of my class was, like, they were getting certified with their spouse or whatever. Super cute. I hate them. No, just kidding. But, like, and so there were a few of us that were just doing it by ourselves, and so we would kind of be partners. And so I was, you know, getting to know the girl. She was really nice, nothing personal against her, but she was like, yeah, I'm not a very strong swimmer, and, like, the water kind of scares me, and, like, the ocean kind of scares me, and all this stuff. And so she's like, I'm hoping that this will help me, like, overcome those fears. And I was like, girl, this ain't the time to overcome your fear of the ocean, okay? Having several pounds worth of oxygen strapped to your back, of compressed air strapped to your back, is not the time to overcome your fear of swimming or the ocean or things like that. I don't know if she even finished her certification, because we did, when we do our actual certifying dives here in Utah, we did them in the crater, so it wasn't even the ocean, and it was, like, really easy. And I was like, this is lame, because I had already gone scuba diving before I was certified, and so I was like, this is, like, really boring and really easy. So I don't know if she even passed. I remember she got a little panicky, or she got scared or something, and so she rose to the top too fast. And so then she started getting lightheaded, and I think she got, like, a nosebleed. I was, like, watching her. She wasn't my partner for the final dive. I had someone else, but, like, I was kind of observing her, because, like, one of my instructors, like, kept having to go help her and stuff, and and they were very clearly annoyed. And things like that, because that's literally what, like, you literally practice all of these skills and things in a swimming pool, like, in the 5 foot deep area of the swimming pool with the oxygen tank, like, the whole shebang bang, but you're in a swimming pool, you know? And so she, like, panicked, and she rose to the top too fast, and it was just, like, a mess. I was like, girl, no. Like, you gotta go like take a swimming class instead. So anyways, if you're thinking, oh, I will overcome this fear by dealing with Mother Nature, let me advise against it, okay? She would also like accidentally kick me with her flippers and things like that, and that's another thing that they really, really like hammered into your head. They were like, be aware of your surroundings, okay? There are animals, like coral is a living, breathing thing, like, and can die very easily, or you can hurt your coral reefs and like all this stuff. And like she would kick me all the time, and I was like, and like you can knock out someone's regulator with a rung flipper, or you know, things like that. Like, it's just dangerous to not be aware of your surroundings, especially when it's your diving partner. And so, and again, this is not to be like mean to her or anything, but I was just like, oh boy, you don't understand like how big of a deal this is, and how this is very much not the time to do what you're trying to do. So anyways, ocean is not the place to overcome fears, okay? Okay, if you're ever feeling uncomfortable or unsafe, get out, okay? I took my friends, a couple friends to this beach that my family goes, and the waves were really crazy again, and the current was really intense. It wasn't a rip current, but like kind of, you know, pulls you. And she was getting really stressed and really uncomfortable. I happen to love that stuff. I think it's really fun. I love like kind of playing in the waves and fighting the waves and things like that. It's really fun because I'm very confident in my swimming abilities. You know what I mean? And I've been wave jumping by myself like my whole life. So, but she was getting uncomfortable. She's like, I'm going to go in. I was like, that's totally fine. There's no shame, no judgment. Like, this isn't an ego thing, okay? The ocean is not the place to stroke your ego either, okay? Stoke your ego. Because again, Mother Nature, she's going to win, okay? Swim with someone. Again, I often am like jumping the waves by myself, but like family members are usually around, you know, and the beach we go to is crowded, so it's not like I'm like alone per se. So swim with someone, especially if you're uncomfortable. And then a tip that my family members and I have mastered is that if you're jumping through the waves and you see a big one coming, the key to not getting rolled around is to drop to the bottom of the ocean floor. So, excuse me. So hold your breath, drop to the bottom, and like kind of like sprawl yourself across the ocean floor and stay there as long as you can until the wave passes. Like a little stingray, okay? Just like, wah. And that usually that's low enough for the intensity of the wave to pass over you. Now, I will say there were a couple times where I still did that and got rolled and rolled and rolled. And again, that's where we take my first tip of staying calm. So anyways, drop to the bottom, and then like it's actually really, really calm on the ocean floor. And then, you know, you just pop back up really quick. And that's a really easy way and also kind of fun way. And you kind of like dig your heels in, or you dig your feet in a little bit and stuff like that. And yeah, you kind of just like spread out on the ocean floor for a second, and then you pop back up. And then the wave's gone. So those are just some little tips, your daily dose of vitamin C. Again, the ocean is beautiful. It's wonderful. I think it's the most beautiful thing that God has created in nature. And it's super cool. And so everyone should get to experience it. It's not to be feared. It's to be respected. You know, be humble, respect her, but you know, it doesn't need to be, I feel like we build it up and stress ourselves out a little bit unnecessarily sometimes. So anyways, I hope you get a chance to go to the beach. I hope you get a chance to experience the ocean. Hopefully this summer sometime. There's still all of July and August and stuff. So I hope you get to go to the beach at some point in your life, because it is magical. And that's all I have for today. So hopefully this was helpful. And you learned some things that maybe will give you a little bit of confidence in the ocean. I will see you guys next week. I will be on time. And, almost forgot. I just ordered a second microphone, and it's coming on Friday. And so that means we will be having a guest in 2 weeks. I've asked my friend to come and be my first guest on my podcast, so I'm super excited. I've gotten a lot of feedback to have guests on the episode. They're just logistical realities that have made that delayed, but I'm so excited. We're gonna start having guests a lot more frequently on the podcast, so be listening for that, and I'm super excited to do record that episode with her. So I hope you have a great day, a great week, and a great summer that is safe. And remember to reapply your sunscreen, please. And I will see you guys next week.